Hi there, Maria here from KUHN RIKON, and today I want to show you a really delicious, perfectly spiced sweet potato and chickpea curry in the DUROMATIC. It's going to get maximum flavour, minimum energy and minimum time. I'm just going to chop up the chilies that I want. I'm going to use one bird's eye green and one red. I'm someone who used to love really intense spice. I've kind of outgrown the really intense spice. So for me, this is like a really nice medium heat, but it's all relative. So if you prefer mild, then maybe, skip the chili, reduce the chili, whatever works for you. But I just found that this was a really nice mix, and I'm not too precious. So I just like to get them in small slices. The pressure cooker is going to do all of the infusing for you. So I'm going to pop these over ready to use with my onions, which are going to go in just a moment. Pressure cooking curry is fantastic because the flavor that you get is incredible. And what I really love about this curry is that the sweet potatoes really add that edge of sweetness that take away the spice too much, and it just ends up really beautifully rounded. So over here we have our DUROMATIC. Inside, I have actually already been preheating this, and so what I've done is I've put in quite a generous tablespoon of coconut oil. For me, that's just going to get the flavors going for this lovely dish. And I'm going to start with a teaspoon of mustard seeds, and they're going to go in, and they are going to get some fragrance. So be careful with these because you don't want them to be so excitable and so popcorny. So just be mindful of your heat settings, but about a minute at a medium to high heat. Coconut oil can stand a much higher heat, so just have a play with it. I'm working on induction today because the DUROMATICs all work on induction, and I'm using the Neo range, which is fab. It's one of our new ranges. So we're just going to get that until it's a bit fragrant. Mustard seeds. I love whole in my curries, but I know you can obviously grind and do loads of other things. Yeah, I'm someone who, I just appreciate people adding their own spin to things. So do share if you make any changes and you find that it is fantastic, let me know. So mustard seeds, getting a bit of life now, getting a bit of ping to them and a bit of aroma. So next up, I'm going to go in with my onions and my chili. And we're going to get a bit of a saute sizzle on there. And I am losing my utensils. Here we go. Okay. So again, 1 to 2 minutes. You'll probably notice if you've been watching a few of these videos or my recipes, sauteing 1 to 2 minutes for each element, because the pressure cooking is where the flavor is really going to maximize. I would say this bit is more like an awakening of the flavors. So you're shoving things in to awaken, and next in goes garlic. My rule of thumb is 1 garlic clove per person. This is a 4-person recipe. Most of my recipes are for 4 people, and this is a 5-litre DUROMATIC, and that is smelling incredible. As always, keep an eye on your heat. Now, we're going to start doing the curry elements. So I'm going to keep it really simple, just curry powder and garam masala. I'm not a seasoned curry chef, so I wouldn't say this is traditional in any shape or form, but for me, it works perfectly. I'm going to do more of the curry powder. So I'm going to go maybe 3 to 4 teaspoons, quite generous. And then the garam masala, I want less, just maybe 1.5. This is just how I've been doing it as I experiment. Now you'll notice this starts to get a little dry. And so this is when you want to add your liquid. And for me, it's actually just water. So I've got my magic number, 1 cup of liquid, just water for me, going to go in, and that's just going to loosen it up, prevent any burning on the bottom of the pan. Nobody likes a burnt bottom. So that is going to come up to temperature quite nicely. And then to that, I want to get my thickening agents. These are all words that I use in my head. So I'm going to do a stock cube. I don't know why I do the stock cube separately. I do the water separately. It's just a habit I've gotten into. Saves me time. Seems to work quite well. And some 2 tablespoons of tomato puree, roughly. And those are going to add extra flavor, which is what it's all about. So we actually want the stock cube to dissolve, so just keep an eye on that. Get that to dissolve a little bit. You can probably tell from the color it's already got some really beautiful richness, flavors, combinations happening. And from there, we are going to add in the main players, sweet potato. The sweet potato was such a game changer for me when I discovered that you could just chuck this in. That's one sweet potato, peeled and roughly diced. And then 3 tins of chickpeas. This is just the quantity that I found worked well for roughly 4 people, but you can halve this and do it for 2. You know, you can do the maths. I don't fancy those maths. I'm not so good at the maths. And give that a nice thorough stir. So that is all of the flavors. Now I want that to just reach a bit of temperature. We've put a lot of cold ingredients in. We want them to kind of reach some sort of heat. And I thought I was a genius for doing this, but who knows? Probably not. I'm going to add spinach. And instead of stirring the spinach in, I'm literally just going to plonk it on top and let it absorb all the steam within the cooking process. It then wilts really nicely and you stir it in once you're done. So I just want a little bit more heat here in my pan. And then we will chuck our spinach on top. But this is all cupboard ingredients, you know? The spinach is fresh. The herbs I'm going to put in later are fresh, but this was very much me trying to use up some of the tins in my cupboard. This could be any pulses, red kidney beans, black beans, haricot beans, whatever you have, tinned goodies. This could be potatoes. So yeah, just make the most of whatever you've got in your fridge or in your cupboard. And I'm going to pop in about half a bag of spinach, maybe between 100 and 200 grams. Spinach is such a funny one to weigh because it's so light until it's cooked and then it becomes nothing. So like I said, not going to do anything to that. That's actually just going to stay like that. I'm going to pop the lid on. So all of our pressure cookers come with a little arrow, which is going to allow you to line it up and lock it into place. And all of our safety measures mean that you can walk away. So for this curry, we are going to go medium-high heat as usual. I always say that because I'm aiming for the top end of your heat range. I'm on induction, you might be on gas, about 2/3 of the maximum flame, so to speak. And we're going to go to level 1 for 15 minutes. So we wait for the valve to rise up to level 1, which is there. And once that has reached level 1, we begin our timer for 15 minutes. So we hang about. Okay, so it's been 15 minutes on level 1 for our sweet potato curry. There's no meat in here, so I'm going to do a manual release. So what that means is that I'm going to press the valve and just let that come out until the valve is all the way down. So just checking, we've got a little more pressure to come out. You can hear it gets quieter and it's nearly there. So when the valve is down, and again, all of our safety mechanisms that KUHN RIKON are famous for, they're what would have prevented you from opening that in any case. So it's extremely safe. It's very, very quiet when it's not releasing pressure. You're in control. We're now able to open it with ease. We're going to unlock. And first off, remember we've got the spinach in there. So where's my utensil? Here we go. So the spinach has all wilted rather nicely, and it's still got nice liquid in there, and it is looking and smelling delicious. So we've still got a few bits to add in, and it's my herbs. I want to add in my fresh fragrant coriander. I am obsessed with coriander. I like a lot of it. I'm using 30 grams, which is a whole small bag if you're buying in the supermarket, or 2 generous handfuls. Again, there's no laws to this. You can put as much as you want in. But I do find that some coriander really elevates a curry, and I like to put that in at the end so that it wilts a little bit, but it stays fragrant. So I am going to pop that in, and we're going to give that a nice stir. Ooh, I'll leave a little pinch for garnish. I want to stir that in first while we've still got quite a lot of heat in our curry. And the spinach has wilted and is starting to mix. And also the sweet potato is really soft. And I actually really like that because it starts to thicken with the sauce. And it ends up as a complete meal because you've got your potatoes, your chickpeas, protein, etc. Lovely. Now this is just yogurt. I'm using low-fat yogurt. You can use whatever you like. I'm using about 200 grams, and I'm leaving about 50 in the jar just to drizzle when I'm garnishing at the table. And this will just bring it all together for the grand finale of delicious curry. And you can see the sweet potato has really disappeared, and just, it's all come together beautifully. Any extra flavors that might have gotten stuck to the bottom, and just scraping them up into the mix. And that is going to be fabulous. Maximum flavor, 15 minutes, low energy usage. That is ready to serve. Vegetarian, vegan, if you're doing meatless Mondays, great option. Really quite cheap to make. 1 big sweet potato, 3 tins of chickpeas are your main ingredients, and that is a complete meal. I do have some rice recipes that I will be doing, so you can always add those to it, or just heat up a naan bread or a roti, anything like that, breads. But that is proper comfort food. And what I like to do is a little dollop of your yogurt, a little sprinkle of your coriander, and for those of you that are feeling bold, maybe a few extra chilies on top. And that's the sweet potato chickpea DUROMATIC curry, one of my favorites.